Are you tired of feeling like you're doing all of the work in bed while your girl just lies there during sex? Maybe she makes some sounds, but you're the one driving the entire sexual experience. If this is sounding familiar to you, you might just be with the pillow princess. Trust me, you are not alone in dealing with a sexually passive partner, and you are not crazy for wanting more sexual participation from your girl. Stay right here because we are going to unpack how this dynamic forms, the right way to change it, and I will probably roast myself a little bit while we're at it. You guys, welcome back to The Naked Connection. This is the show that supports driven men to reach sexual mastery and build deep connections. It's Kirsten, and before we take this any further, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button so that you do not miss a single episode. Your sex life is going to thank you for it. Today, we are tackling something that probably hits close to home for a lot of you. What to do when your partner seems disinterested during sex. We are talking about that pillow princess dynamic. When she's happy to receive, but rarely reciprocates with the same sexual engagement. She's propped up on those pillows, relaxed, just laying there. So I will say this episode is not about shaming someone or creating pressure. This is about understanding why sexual passivity happens and how to address that sexual imbalance in relationships in a way that benefits both partners. And let's be clear, she absolutely has work to do here too, okay? Sexual satisfaction is a two-way street that requires both people to show up actively and engaged. I will say that this episode is focused on you and what you can control in this dynamic, because while healthy relationships require mutual effort, change often starts with one person who's willing to take the lead. So you guys, let's get some. All right, what is a pillow princess, you might be wondering. Let's start with some clarity. A pillow princess is someone who happily enjoys receiving pleasure, but rarely reciprocates the same energy and sexual participation. The term actually comes from the lesbian community, but it applies to any sexual dynamics and relationships where one partner is consistently passive while the other does most of the work. If you feel like your girlfriend, your wife, your girl won't participate during sex, but you're working overtime to please her, you might be dealing with this dynamic. And let's be clear, this isn't about keeping score or creating some transactional approach to sex. This is about improving sexual communication and creating a bedroom dynamic where both partners feel engaged and satisfied. Let's first look at why some women are passive during sex. What turned them into that pillow princess? Before you assume that your partner is just being lazy or selfish, let's understand why it might be driving some of this behavior. And there are several reasons why women develop sexual passivity, and understanding these dynamics is actually really important to addressing this dynamic and imbalance overall. The first is looking at sexual anxiety and inexperience. She might genuinely not know what to do, or she might be worried about her performance. Or, culture sends women some mixed messages about sexuality. Women are supposed to be sexy, but not too aggressive, desirable, but not too forward. It's like this push and pull, and many women have actually been conditioned to be pretty sexually passive, which can make taking charge feel really uncomfortable and really unfamiliar. So if she's inexperienced or lacks some sexual confidence, it can feel much safer to let you lead rather than risk doing something that she thinks is quote unquote wrong. She might worry about her appearance, about sounds, or just seeming too eager. And that isn't lazy. It's a self-protection that's rooted in anxiety. The second is a little bit deeper dive into some of that cultural conditioning and past experiences. So maybe in previous relationships, active sexual participation wasn't expected or encouraged. If she's used to having a partner who preferred to be completely in control, she might assume that's what you want too. Unless you've had clear communication about your needs, she might think you enjoy being the primary giver. And sometimes these patterns develop within your own relationship too. So if you've historically been the lead and she followed, that dynamic can become the default without either of you consciously choosing it. The other path here or reason is that it's her genuine sexual preference. Some women genuinely prefer to receive more than they give sexually. Or maybe they prefer to be really submissive and are hoping that you'll become more dominant, which in turn leads them to just be receiving. There's nothing inherently wrong with that preference. Yeah, if you're both satisfied with that dynamic, then that's great. But if you're here and it's leaving you feeling frustrated or creating intimacy problems, then it's worth addressing through some communication. Another reason for the pillow princess is her self-pleasure patterns. Many women develop comfortable, predictable patterns during self-pleasure. She might have fallen victim to lying in one position with a vibrator every single time. And while there is nothing wrong with easy pleasure, we love a quick easy pleasure moment, this can actually lead to repeating passive patterns during partnered sex. And she's actually conditioned herself to only reach orgasm in a specific position or with a very particular type of stimulation. So this will make her less likely to want to explore or initiate different experiences. The key insight here is that the sexual passivity rarely stems from being lazy, but it's more often the result of some kind of conditioning, whether that was outside coming in culturally or just like from messaging growing up, or maybe from the relationship history or even like her patterns of that self-pleasure. So now that we've looked at a few reasons why, it's probably starting to give you a little bit of insight of what's happening deeper here. Let's look at how to get your partner actually more engaged in bed, right? Like you want to be with someone who's like in it with you. The key to changing these sexual patterns isn't necessarily pressure or guilt or complaining. It's about creating conditions where she wants to increase her sexual participation. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to inspire that sexual enthusiasm without pressure. And again, I'm just going to make the note as we dive into what you can do. There's so much that she can do for herself too. And I hope that she takes on some inspiration and dedication for herself to start exploring her own sexuality and her own desires and like how to really engage more with you in bed. Let's be honest. You want to be that man, the man that she can't stop replaying in her mind, the man who makes her breath catch, who leaves her dripping with anticipation, who has her begging for more before you're even touching her. Here's the thing. Great lovers, they aren't born. They are built through skill, through presence, and through deep confidence that radiates in and out of the bedroom. That is exactly what my Legendary Lover training gives you. This isn't a list of bedroom hacks. It is a rewiring of who you are as a man, how you carry yourself, how you own your sexual desires, how you step into sex with complete freedom and clarity. In the Legendary Lover training, you will learn practices that expand your confidence, sharpen your focus, and ground you so deeply that she feels it in every touch, in every look, and in every breath. Because when you master yourself, she feels it. And that is what makes you unforgettable in bed. I have led countless men through this training and through these practices, and they have walked out completely changed, more confident, more commanding, and more sexually magnetic. And right now, because I'm launching this for the first time, you are going to get in at a discount that I will never run again. So head on over to thenakedconnection.com/lover, LOVER, before this discount disappears. Don't just be good in bed. Be legendary. We're going to look at building sexual confidence in your partner. So if sexual nervousness or inexperience is driving her passivity, focus on building some sexual confidence with her. Maybe you're the first person she's ever been with and she really doesn't know what's going on. That could be the case. This starts way before you get to the bedroom in terms of building her confidence. And I'll say that female sexuality is often driven by feeling desired and cherished. Explore using some positive reinforcement throughout the day. And not just about her physical appearance, but really sharing what you love about who she is as a person, about her character, her intelligence, her being. This approach to building sexual confidence really extends beyond the bedroom and creates the foundation for better sexual engagement. And when it comes to sex specifically, focus on what she's already doing well. You're like, she does nothing. She just lays there. Well, is she doing that? Well, I don't know. Try on telling her that you love the way that she kisses you, how her touch affects you. Communicate how good she is at the things she's already comfortable with. This sexual confidence building makes her more likely to explore increased participation. And you can egg her on a little bit too. If she makes a little bit of a noise, encourage more of that. If she actually engages in a different position with you, talk about how beautiful her body looks when you get to see her from this angle. Inviting more of that in and loving on her and cherishing her and making her feel really desired in different positions, in different states. And that comes into this piece of looking at communicating techniques. So when it comes to addressing sexual relationship problems, explore focusing on amplifying the positives rather than complaining about what's missing. If your girlfriend doesn't initiate sex or participate as much as you would like, do what you can not to complain about what's lacking. Instead, tell her how incredible it feels when she does take initiative, or how hot it is when she responds a certain way to you. Amplifying the goodness is so powerful. I think I often go back to the book, The Way of the Superior Man, written by David Deida. I love his work. And one of the things, he gives an example of how different men and women respond to encouragement and reinforcement. And he gives the example of a man going to the gym and working out, and how if someone is really pushing him, that gives him more motivation to go more. Whereas for a woman, the example he gives is that if you tell a woman, oh, you're looking kind of out of shape, oh, you should maybe think about come to the gym with me. I think you need to get some cardio in. That's actually going to plummet her confidence and plummet her desire to actually engage in the thing that you want her to engage in. And so he gives this example of instead commenting on how beautiful her body is, how luscious her hips are, how much you love seeing her sweaty after that gym sesh. Things like that of complimenting her and her body actually inspires a woman more to go to the gym. So that's just the example that he gives. And I think that applies here as well in sex. Just speaking about what feels good, about what is going well. Your positive responses are going to give her permission to do more and continue building that sexual confidence in your relationship. This is one that I think is really helpful also if she's coming from a place where she has some of these cultural narratives or maybe even religious upbringing or different messages that she's received to silence her sexuality, even within her marriage or within her relationship, of making it small and quiet. Your positive responses are going to give her a little bit more of that permission to kind of come out of her shell. Let's also look at how to actually talk to your partner about their sexual participation. Eventually, no matter, let's say that you're trying these initial techniques, you're communicating, you're doing the positive things, you're encouraging, and it's just she's still laying there doing nothing. Eventually, you will want to have a direct sexual communication about this. But timing and approach really matter when discussing something like this. So I would avoid bringing this up actually during sex or immediately after. Choose a neutral moment when you're both relaxed and emotionally available. And do a little shit sandwich. Start with some appreciation, communicating what you love about her, about your relationship, about your sexual connection. And frame the conversation really as wanting to explore ways to enhance mutual sexual satisfaction, not as addressing a problem that she's created. Because sometimes what can happen when you do that is it builds this wall. If you come at it like, oh, this is a problem that you've created, a wall can come up, and we don't want that for you. So be specific about what you want. If you would love her to be on top more often, say that. If you want her to initiate something sometimes, tell her really clearly. Give her super, super concrete examples rather than vague requests for more sexual participation. And most importantly, listen to her responses with some of that curiosity. There might be barriers that you're not aware of. She might have sexual desires that she hasn't shared yet, right? Like there's so much potential in this conversation. Maybe when you bring up wanting her to be on top more often, she'll express like, I actually feel really self-conscious about my breasts after having kids, and it just feels like so uncomfortable for me to be so exposed. Maybe she chooses when she's on top to like have a bra on, and that actually feels really good for both of us. So starting to have conversations to actually figure out what's going on for her and how can we make this better for you, for both of you. And a part of this is looking at understanding sexual turn-ons and preferences. This isn't about getting her comfortable with something that she sees as a chore. It's about discovering what genuinely excites her about being more sexually active. Some women absolutely love the feeling of power that comes from taking control. Others get really turned on by watching their partner's reactions. Some enjoy the performance aspect of taking charge. So have conversations about sexual turn-ons and what she finds exciting about sex. Maybe she's never explored her dominant side. Maybe she needs to feel more confident in specific positions or techniques. Maybe by you having this conversation, it will actually bring up for her that she hasn't explored an aspect of her sexuality, or just like her sexuality in general, like herself as a sexual being is kind of muted. And you might have the power to plant a seed of recognizing for her, this is something that I want to explore for myself and for you, for your relationship. When you can connect her increased sexual participation to her own pleasure and sexual preferences, you're much more likely to see some genuine enthusiasm. And give it time. I know this is not the thing that people like to hear. We want everything now. Give it time and patience. If you've been operating with one sexual dynamic for a while, weeks, months, years, decades, expecting an overnight transformation is really not realistic. Sexual patterns take time to shift, especially when they involve stepping outside comfort zones around sexual confidence. It's like you are in a cruise ship and you are doing a giant U-turn. We are not necessarily like a little tiny speedboat. So celebrate the small steps in the right direction. If she initiates a kiss during sex when she usually doesn't, give some kind of positive response to that. Be like, oh, I loved that. Or like lean in the way that you know she can tell that you liked it. If she suggests trying something new and you're open to it, like be enthusiastic about that. These incremental changes build momentum towards better sexual engagement and improved intimacy. Now, I will say this, the topic of when sex therapy and counseling might help. If you've tried these communication techniques and you're still seeing zero movement or interest in addressing the sexual imbalance, it might be time to bring in professional support for your intimacy issues because there might be something deeper going on. It could be past trauma, medical conditions or pain, or a deeper complex relationship pattern. And that could require or benefit from some additional guidance. Remember that great sex isn't about perfectly balancing that scorekeeping. We want to not have a scoreboard here. We want to have like a blank canvas that we're creating new art on together all the time. This is about both partners feeling engaged, satisfied, and connected. Sometimes one person is going to give more. Sometimes the other person will. But when there's a consistent pattern that leaves one partner feeling disconnected, it's really worth addressing the issue directly. You desire more engagement. Your desire for better sexual engagement is not selfish or unreasonable. You deserve to feel like your partner is invested in mutual sexual satisfaction as much as you are. And she deserves to discover what genuine sexual enthusiasm feels like if she hasn't experienced it yet. So start by focusing on building some of that sexual confidence, approaching this with patience. And so start by building that sexual confidence. Support her in feeling desired outside of the bedroom and in it. And use some of that positive reinforcement to remind her of how much you cherish her and desire her. And having some of that clear, kind communication about what you love to explore together is so, so key. I hope that this episode has been helpful. I hope that the days of the pillow princess are beyond you and that you are having that mind-blowing sex that you so, so, so desire. Until next time, this is Kirsten, and you guys, let's get some.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Naked Connection. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Trust me on this, your sex life and that special someone in your life will thank you for it. And if you really love the show, please take a moment and leave a 5-star review or a written review and let me know what you think. It would mean so much to me and this show. Until next time, happy connecting.